So here we have the third game of our third series in the first round of the 8-Bit Ladderwars tournament for March, hosted by our friends over at Game Replays. Once again, Tarnation is playing the Marines, but this time in that gorgeous dark blue, where he seems to be going a far more standard build this time. And over on the other side, Carnage, once again sticking true to his main with that very boringly coloured light blue Guardians. Tarnation is probably going to go for this kill. Carnage is going to need to split these units up if he wants to keep them alive. He's just going to run them away until he gets more engineers out. This is actually quite a smart play. Ooh, these guys don't want to stand together. But he's going to try and just get a few more engineers out. This Harpy really hasn't managed to do much here, which is very unfortunate for Tarnation's start. And we'll have to hover around here a bit to see what he's going to do. He's spending his time, too much of his time microing this now, it seems, to be building his barracks. This is a very, very late barracks coming out here, if he's going to go for a barracks. And yes, he is. So this looks more like what I thought the first game was going to be. I'm expecting this to be the Harpy pressure that he is known for. This is a great map for it. It has this big, long, wide, jumpable wall around your main base. And quite an open area around the front. The buildings do give you a bit of a hassle, but generally this is going to be a good start. He's got a good amount of economy up since he's been a bit slow with actually producing units and making his barracks, and so he is going to get Harpies out a bit late to do some damage, but he's going to have a huge amount of money when he gets there. And it looks like he is just going to spam barracks. This is just his opening. He's going to go. He's not going to settle down for a macro game against a Guardians player, because he knows that would be suicide, and so he is going to go for the more aggressive opening with these Harpies. Carnage is doing his absolutely standard build. For those who are new to 8-bit, barracks, factory, refinery, power. And then he's going into more of these to get a good amount of these rocket cars out, so that he can start moving around and harassing a lot of these points. In a extended late game against Guardians, the Marines will have a very hard time protecting all these points, because the rocket cars can get around to them all and can just kill them so quickly. And they're possibly going to get two here, although there are going to be Harpies coming around to defend, who surprisingly are actually one of the best ways to defend versus rocket cars. But he's just going to move in and get those two kills regardless. And get out with most of his rocket cars, which is just how rocket cars do things, you know? Just kill over 1,000 money worth of units and then just fuck off home with not too many casualties. Now he's going to actually get unluckily caught here by these Harpies on the way home, which will cut their numbers down to size. And he's probably, because he was dealing with this little Harpy harass over here, and now there's going to be Harpy harass at the front. There's just going to be Harpies everywhere. And this is going to be very difficult for Carnage to hold. I mean, he's going to hold off each section of it fine, but having all these Harpies over all these different points of the map can be quite difficult. Although there are a few AFKers over here. The snipers are going to do a very good job now he has them out, and once he gets Spectres, they're going to do an excellent job as well. He's probably going to start producing Spectres quite heavily now. And these rocket cars look like they're going to go forward and try and be really aggressive, because they are not incredibly useful when in holding off these Harpy attacks. And the Harpies aren't actually doing much damage yet, apart from just trimming his army down and keeping him back. It does look like the slowness of this Harpy pressure perhaps might have gibbed it a bit. Unfortunately, these really need to... I would like to see him split these up, honestly. I'd like to see him drag half of them maybe into the back of his base and then send the other half around hunting for more at the front. I'd like to see him grab them and check up here, but, I mean, most people wouldn't expect someone to just AFK let their harvester go out there, so I can totally understand why Carnage is not doing that. See, Harpies trying to run around to defend with these awkward jump cycles, but Carnage can be out there. Having all these in one group does mean that he is more likely to keep them survived, unless he AFKs them by this little town here. But it does also mean that he only has the chance to get this one that's down here. He can't get many more, and the fact that Tarnation is only making Harpies means that he can just be constantly producing Harvesters, but it looks like he does. He has sort of accepted that this has failed now. Tarnation, TrolerKules, sorry, TrolerKules is actually going for air, which is something that you don't see him do incredibly much in this matchup, but he has such a good economy because no damage has actually been done to it by these Harpies, and they will really clear out these Harpies when it comes to a straight fight with those big machine guns. There we go. So it's going to be a big Harpy attack on the front here. This will do some damage. We'll have to see with a lot of his Spectres across the map if Troller can hold this, but the heavy drones will do very well unless some Shrikes come out, and I haven't seen any Shrikes flying around yet. These Spectres are going to be quite annoying. There are a lot of Harpies though, which mean that he does have quite good detection. But I mean, it won't matter. Just, these Spectres could kill all of these things here if they wanted to stop. And Gremlins are coming out rather than getting the Shrikes out. So these heavy drones are in absolutely no danger right now. So these Spectres just absolutely not giving a fuck right now. Just going to roll into the back and kill that Harvester and then try and roll on out again. Yep, Lel. Come fight me, Harpies. Just gonna back themselves into the corner a bit, split up to try and avoid some of the AoE, and just gonna fight it out here. Just gonna fight to death because they can probably hold most of this. I mean, the Gremlins are gonna be very useful here, giving them some more health. But I mean, Spectres are good, dude. Like, they took out a lot of those Harpies, and now a big attack in the front. While all these units had to be pulled back to defend the back, there's only a small force defending the front, and now all these Spectres can go to work over here in a much better situation. There is some Shrikes out, which will help a lot against these heavy drones, which are now actually heading down over here to try and catch more Harvesters. And this is what I mean. We've now got to the point. Tarnation's harassment, although good and aggressive, didn't do enough to manage to make anything meaningful happen. And now he's going to start losing Harvesters all over the map. He's down to 3 Harvesters now, and he's back on 3 Harvesters with this new Harvester replacing the Harvester in the main. And 3 Harvesters is not enough to have full production on all of this production. And definitely not enough to... And now he's on 2, which is even worse. 2 is absolutely nothing. He can probably keep up production if he stops making from any of these and just goes full Fido. Hashtag Fido Nation. Look at this adorable motherfucker. How is that not the greatest run animation in the game? That thing is amazing. I love him. But these heavy drones are just coming out here more. They forced this guy off of mining. They're going to run into the back, and unless there's a good amount of Shrikes on their way, they're just not going to care. There are 2 Shrikes here. I think these heavy drones would beat 2 Shrikes in a fight, but they don't actually care. They're just looking for this, and now they are turning on the Shrikes. Yep, there we go. They're just going to run away, and the Shrike is turning away as well. But unfortunately, the Harvest is going back to mine before the danger has been swept. There are more waiting here just in case it comes. And this is exactly how a Guardians versus Marine game looks if you don't kill them with the rush. Units split all over the map to try and defend every angle, and still just absolutely no way of doing it. These Spectres, I mean, they're going to walk into this Harpy, unfortunately, but now this Harpy's dead, so they can just go back to being invisible and just run around. There are, you know, if we look on this whole map, there's 1 that can search invisible there, 1 that can search invisible there. I believe Fido's can, although someone I saw in Discord questioned whether that is true, and I haven't tested it yet. So Spectres just get to run free. There's this huge army right here, and Tarnation calls the GG. This is what I was expecting to see a lot of these games look like. So we'll see if Tarnation is brave enough to bring another Marine game to the table and try and kill him with that all in, or if he switches it up again.